Did you get that little notification
Yeah,
that
yeah.
said recording in progress? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's so funny. All right. Um, so what's up, everyone? Today we have episode 3. We're here with my boy Amat. Um, is there any nickname you want people to call you, or
Ahmad's totally cool. It's short and sweet.
short and sweet? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we like. So today we're going to get into a couple different topics. The one that sparked my interest the most was when Amat put an Instagram post up last week about how he is transitioning into becoming a designer. Um, I
Yeah.
went to undergrad for design, but I now work in an engineering firm. And so I'm not in the world of design, but it still has a very, very special place in my heart. Um, I I think I could go to my grave talking about design, or art or music, any of that
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think the creative side of life is the best side of life.
Hmm.
And so when you put this post up and you were saying, "Hey, reach out to me," or if you got any like anybody that's in design or has done design, like reach out to me. It's like, dude, yes. Like it just
Much love, dog.
so I guess let's just I mean, we got some other topics, right? We're both dads now. This will
Yeah.
be my first episode on fatherhood and anything like that. So I've got a couple plans to do more episodes like that with some other people, but just take the floor, tell me why, you know, and I didn't even mention the part about how you know, you left your previous job. So
Yeah. Yeah. No worries.
I want you to explain that because I love hearing people's stories and like knowing why decisions were made and everything. And
Yeah.
so this leap is like really intriguing to me. So let's hear
It's
it.
quite a leap. Yeah. I appreciate you, Ian. I think, let's see, regarding the leap. All right. So when I was at the North Face, I was a copywriter. Um, Before then, I was actually doing a lot of freelance work. So, um, you mentioned that you went to school for design. I went to school for psychology and English, which is like the social sciences. So, although it's a social science, I don't think society necessarily values it as much. Um, Towards the end of my senior year, I got into like, spirituality and religion, and that pushed me to like want to embrace the outdoors. It's like a catalyst to understanding myself more and God and things like that. And that was like also when like conservation was like really getting big and like environmental preservation. So I was like, this is that step. Um, I didn't, even now, haven't done any snow sports. I don't know if you've skied or snowboarded yet. Have you?
I've snowboarded, and my son actually just went skiing and snowboarding.
Oh,
I wasn't
heck
on
yeah.
that trip, but to be honest, the last time I snowboarded, I really screwed up my shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
So like it's sad, man. Like I haven't done it in
Taking a
years.
breather.
And yeah,
Yeah.
like but I love snowboarding. It's just like almost like one of those things that just like stuck with me because my shoulder was like messed up for a while. Like it was a shoulder cuff injury.
Oh,
So
man.
I couldn't do it. I
Yeah, I
couldn't
gotta
even like
take
lift
care.
dishes from the dishwasher, none of that.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
But,
want to go back. I should.
yeah, I mean, that's something I'd like to do. And so, like, all those things, whether it's snow sports or hiking, camping, all that stuff intrigued me. And so, I didn't have those skills necessarily, except for hiking and camping a handful of times, but I can lean into my writing. That's what I've been doing like throughout my college career. And so I ended up writing just like a lot of articles and writing for publications in the outdoor space, from Mountain Base Camp to Gear Junkie, Outside Business Journal, you name it.
Wow.
And it was dope. I very much appreciated being able to tell people stories. A lot of my stuff, even on Gear Junkie, just like a lot of gear reviews, I wrote more so people's stories, and that's like that storytelling
When
aspect that.
you like yeah, because I wanted to like you kind of poked on some things I wanted to get into, but like
Yeah.
I guess the writing part. Something I'm always interested to know, like especially for bigger companies or writing groups, like
Hmm.
when you're surrounded by like-minded individuals, like especially since you said you like the travel aspect of it. Did you enjoy writing more alone, or did you enjoy when you guys went on like an excursion and
Mm,
there were like 10 of y'all and you could, you know, there was more of like a group
yeah.
experience there.
That's really interesting. That's a great question because the writing that I mainly did was solo. The only time it really like incorporated other people was when I was interviewing people. So like right now, I'm
Okay.
currently writing an article. I'm trying to interview people in Palestine at the moment that climb. I just kind of shared their perspective on what it means to be a Palestinian climber and things like that. But I mean, it would have been dope to actually travel, like roll deep. You know what I'm saying? Travel, go
Yeah.
somewhere. It's like
Like I did,
write
that's what I'm saying. I
with
didn't
a whole
know if
bunch of
like
people.
as far as, North Bay, their whole thing is explore, explore, explore. So I didn't know if you guys had I was
Yeah,
curious to
no,
know
that'd
if you
be
guys had
dope.
like writing excursions because I mean,
Yeah, that's a great
yeah.
idea. You know, I think like there were times like so the writing I did was like digital marketing. So that's
Okay.
like anything across the channels ranging from like mobile to email to like social media, things like that. That's mainly what I touched. Like just bridging the gap between the audience and the brand like within these digital channels. And it was dope. I mean, the North Face and VF as a whole definitely like the whole living the brand is for sure true.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
I love the
they
culture there. They push like outdoor excursions. They push for snow days. They push for a
so
lot
they
of
they
stuff.
did they did like, I mean, a lot of your work involved like traveling, obviously, because
No, interestingly enough,
no?
at the North Face, no, at the
Okay.
North Face, it was mainly just like I was in office. So I moved to Denver from New York to be
Okay.
closer to the office. The writing that I did, so anything that I really did before the North Face, um, the only time I traveled was when it'd be like a travel story. Then I'd share it, and that would be like through these publications. But at the North
Okay.
Face, it's very much in office, and
Yeah.
you're working with the brand team, the marketing team to make
Gotcha. I
sure
did,
like whatever we're pushing makes sense to the consumer.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then I mean, just in general, what like outside of North Face, outside of
Mhm.
professional career, traveling wise, since we're talking about exploring and being outdoors and
Yeah.
like you said, like how it connects to you. Because I'm the same way. I mean, I work long shifts, so like when I'm not at work and I'm off, like days like
Mhm.
today, dude, yeah, it's like if it's nice outside, I'm probably gonna
You're
go
stepping
do
out.
something, right? Yeah.
I feel that.
Um, what is like the favorite place that you've ever traveled to? Whether, with family, whether professionally, like what has
Yeah.
been your number one place?
That's a great question, man. I can't wait to kind of turn it back to you and see what comes to mind when
It's
we
a hard
share.
question to me. I mean, because
Yeah.
I never like anything favorites, man. Like, and I know I have some favorites on like questions coming up, but like I always have a tough time
And like
picking
highlights.
a favorite movie, a
Yeah.
favorite place to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Like,
You gotta like dig deep in the vault in the archives. Like,
yeah,
I think it depends on time and place and like feeling, but I think that if I had to pick at least two, um,
yeah, we'll go with two.
I went to Morocco in like 2008.
Oh, Morocco, dude. I work
Yeah,
with
and that
so many
was
guys from Morocco. It's like I wish. Yeah. I want to
and it
go
was
so bad.
interesting, you know what I'm saying? I think like actually the original plan, my parents were like, we're going to Hawaii. I was like, yeah, this is dope. I'm ready. And the last minute it was like, we're going to Morocco. I was like, what's in Morocco? Like, what's
That's a
going
wild
on?
switch. Yeah.
Yeah, but I very much enjoyed it, for switching. I didn't know what was coming. I was like the culture, the people, like the kindness, the sentiment. That was dope. And then um I've been to China a little bit, but I'd have to probably say Senegal, which is kind of a cop out. So my parents are Senegalese, I'm Senegalese. And it's been a minute since I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I kind of miss going back to like the roots and
Yeah.
understanding just how different the values are compared to like the values here in the US. It's very like familial. Lots of good food, beaches like nearby. So yeah, I think Senegal and Morocco. What about you? What are two
I
places?
I think like your answer is pretty spot on for me is going back to my dad's home country, Iran. I mean, it's
Iran.
just
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. What's
um
that like?
I mean, like you said, culture. Everything's different. Plenty of food. Well, I know that people feed each other in America, right? But like
Hmm.
it's just like a welcome party when, family members from, especially like my dad when he goes back home, like that's like all his family. So,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, unfortunately, like I can't really go back right now. It's just like everything's too political.
Yeah, it's pretty
The
tough.
world is just a very different place these days.
Hmm.
But I have going back to Iran, like going to Iran. We went for 2 weeks, so
Whoa.
I was really just like over there. We went to a couple different cities. Tehran was probably my favorite. I mean, it's
Oh.
basically like a Middle Eastern New York. Like they have skyscrapers, everything, man. Mountain, like
Dang,
they have mountains that you can walk to and
that's
see the
crazy.
city skyline. Like it's, I don't know. So it's amazing out there. Plenty of country. And then I enjoyed Paris as well. Like we did those in the
Ooh,
same trip. It was yeah, it was Iran and Paris. So that
that's
was,
tight.
yeah, Paris was busy, man. A lot of people in
Yeah,
Paris.
Paris is always busy, dog. Paris is busy. I haven't been there in a minute, but
It
it's
like I went to
man.
Rome also like years and years later when I was studying abroad.
Wow.
Um, or after I studied abroad in Prague, but Rome was the same way, man. Rome and Paris
Dang.
just both are just
Like
packed,
hand in hand. Yeah.
like
That's wild.
ridiculous.
There's two words that come to mind when I think of exploration. And this is actually one of the um I don't know if we want to jump into this just yet, but it's one of the values for me when it comes to design, you know, where it's
Yeah,
like I believe in the power of exploration. And like exploration in general is like traveling and learning. And so how do we do that like not just externally, like hitting Rome or Paris, Iran or Senegal and Morocco, but like how do we travel and learn inside? How do we cultivate
yeah,
that sense of wonder inside? And so I think it's like when we do that, that we're able to tap into that creativity, which leans into that amazing aspect of life that you touched on earlier. You know.
yeah. I mean, basically, learning is like when you say learning, it's that really hits home for me because I'm back in school now. I'm doing I'm still doing everything I can to like learn more, right?
Hmm.
And I meet people sometimes like, "Oh, you're this age and you're back in school. Like I would never go back to school, da 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 da."
Hmm.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know, like this and that. And it's almost like they're downplaying it. And
Oh,
it's
like,
like man, like why though? We're still,
hmm,
you know, we have these
like
amazing
lifelong
brains, like
students. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
lifelong students. Like student life never closes. Like
Hmm.
I don't think I did an art piece. It's really just like a collage sort of thing. And it was like the first thing I had done in like a while. And then
I
I
think I
cut
might
all
have
this.
seen it. I like how you've been like
Yeah.
sharing sketches. Yeah,
Oh,
and
dude. I
things
mean,
like
that's
that
like
on
everything.
IG.
Just creating and whatever. Even doing this, like, and that's not like that's what I was going to mention about the learning too. It's like just challenging yourself to do new things. Um, I think is always the move. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't like it's to me, it's boring if you don't try to continue learning or, like you said, continue seeing places or exploring or being outside.
Yeah, because it's just
Uh,
so natural to like the human experience. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like we
Like,
got to as
yeah, and
much as much as we can, as best as we can, and obviously like everyone's story is different. Everyone has different like places of living where sometimes they're not really given the opportunity to do so. But like
yeah,
that's when we can tap into ourselves as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I dig that, man. I dig what you said.
Let's see. So, I mean, for design, we can go ahead and get into it because that's probably going to be like I think a large majority of what you probably want to talk about. But
Hmm.
um, your transition into design, like why you chose to do design, and
Hmm.
yeah, basically just like what your values. I think that's important. I think
Hmm.
you put up a manifesto. You put up a manifesto the other day, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was really cool. So, like, just
Thank you.
go over that, or just talk about
Yeah.
what you want to get out of your design, basically.
Yeah, and I appreciate you. I think when it with design, so let's see if I can even talk about the transition, then I guess my values. I think like so at the North Face, I was copywriting. There are definitely instances where I was able to do some storytelling. A lot of it though was working on just once again bridging that gap between the consumer and the North Face through like email, outlet copy, stuff like that. I didn't necessarily know. I was still trying to find my place at the North Face, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love social impact. So I did like a 3 month stretch assignment there, working with like the brand purpose team, and that was dope. But once again, still trying to learn like what does it mean for me to make an impact? You know, like I think that working with nonprofits is amazing. I think that my strengths still lie in that creative side, which is why I was like, if I can couple this creativity with social impact, that'd be dope. And then so unfortunately, things don't necessarily, I don't want to say unfortunately, things just didn't necessarily work out the way I'd hoped, where, I was still trying to get my bearings. Yes, I was told I made improvements, but at the end of the day, it wasn't necessarily where they felt I needed to be. And I respected that. Yes, it was a little saddening, but I had to keep it pushing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, and so with design, it's something I've been looking into for like over a year and a half, man. Like I don't even know how it started. I think there's just been a couple players in the game that kind of inspired me to get into it, and that's like we talked about this a little bit,
Right. Yeah, you
Um,
sent me some of your like designers that like at the moment, like last week when I
yeah,
saw the post, like that were like, oh, this guy's really striking me up right now and like really sparking me up. And I
yeah,
mean, anything like creative wise, I think that's what it's all about. I personally also like I know so well about how like I went through years where I wasn't even doing anything creative. Like I wasn't
mm,
painting a single painting, wasn't writing a single song. I
mm,
wasn't doing any of this, like none of it. And
wow,
this year I woke up, man, and like I was just like,
switch it
no,
up.
I was like, no, yeah, this is when we're switching up. Like this is when it's like,
Yeah,
okay, you have all these resources, you know the right people, like et cetera, et cetera. Like you know people that are interested in stuff. So
yeah,
um yeah, no, and then
that's awesome.
but like so for you, you wanna start working more with nonprofits, or is that just like you want to do that because that's
Yeah,
like a easy way to help, right?
I think
Yeah,
it is an easy way to help. I think that kind of maybe at this that's a great question because it kind of touches on like the design
right.
principles of like, the first one is that, design is a luxury, an honor, and a trust. You know, I think there's so many things being made today. Some are really dope. Like I'm not gonna hate on everything. Like some things are really cool and beautiful, but like they're not sustainable and like they're,
Yeah,
and whatever it may be. And so I think like there's a way to like find that balance where we can make dope stuff and we can take care of the planet. And I think that's also part of being human. I think like, for me, it's like a big part is being a caretaker, like what does it mean to be a caretaker in any way, shape, or form? And then like that kind of falls into the next aspect of just like being present, understanding that with design, it's not necessarily going to be easy, but something that can ease it, and its creativity is exploration. And I think that the more we explore, the more we tend to love, and the more we want to care for whatever we find. Um, yeah. And then so, you know, I felt like one of my strengths was storytelling, and I want to tell stories like I did before I had entered the North Face. And when I had realized that like people were very intentional in telling their own stories or other people's stories through fashion, product, or anything, I was like, this is dope. Like I'm going into mad rabbit holes. Like you tell me, man, if there's been any designers that have just like changed your perspective on life or just on design based on their story or their ways of thinking. But that was a huge push for me to like, all right, man, like we all got stories. I want to share a little bit of mine or share other people's in hopes that I can also make a
yeah,
living, you know?
yeah. I mean, for me, one of my favorite designers of all time, and I mean, rest in peace to him, is like Steve Jobs, basically,
Mm,
because
mm,
like originally when you first buy your MacBooks and everything like that, like you're just buying the product. You don't even think
mm,
about I had to have it for design school. So it's like I'm not even thinking about what does this guy do, what's his story, none of that. And then when you start to
Yeah.
we study him in college and everything, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, and I wrote every single public speaking paper. Like I had to take public speaking as a communications class
Wow.
in college.
Yeah.
I wrote every single one on Apple. So I
Wow.
mean, like,
I mean, like, dude, their design, like, I'm using a pro right now, like the designs there.
yeah, the impact he had on me was pretty severe. Like as far as like throughout that uh time of my life. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, you already kind of touched on one of my like one of the other questions, and I said like, do you feel all that's happened has led you to where you are? And then like, because that's something I really kind of believe in, but you
Mm,
definitely went over that.
hmm.
Um,
I definitely believe it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but you mentioned something about being a caretaker, right? And we didn't even talk about that really at all. But being that we're both fathers and everything, what would you say is your favorite part of being a dad?
That's a great question, man. I'm glad you asked. Just making my little one like smile and laugh, showing her that like I'm there for her. It's one of those things where it's like no matter what, hopefully she'll always have, either me or my wife to like run to kind of thing. But even just speaking in the sense of fatherhood, yeah, that sense of like being gentle, being compassionate, being like loving. Yeah. And I think the last thing I'll probably say, and I'd love to hear your answers. You know what I'm saying? Like, please fill me in because, like, you're a father before me. And, like, like, drop some gems. I'm still learning. But
Um,
yeah,
nah, I
yeah.
mean, I think you like kind of touched on it anyways. That would be my answer too. It's like just seeing that reflection of my like the result of my love and my effect, like my care and
Hmm.
et cetera, being poured into another human being, and then seeing that result of like him smiling. And I mean, he's like older than 6 now, man. It's crazy. It's like
Wow.
he's a third of the way to 18, and it's just
Yo,
like
what
that's
perspective.
that's when it
Yeah.
hit me, man. I was like, no way, because when he was born, I was 25, and it's something I was always telling myself was like, I'm a fairly younger dad, and
Mm.
like he'll be 25 when I'm 50, which is not that far away. Like, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was like
That's
always kind of
wild.
my perspective of it is like
Hmm.
at least when he's around where I'm at now,
Hmm.
I'll still be able to like continue to hang out with him and everything like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, let's see. Uh but yeah,
That's
the
beautiful.
happiness and everything, man. That's what it's all about for me. Seeing him
Can I
happy.
ask you
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? How does like that sense of happiness and that love and like that everything you want to actualize in yourself in hopes that, your son can do the same. How does that how has being a father, how's that changed your how you move? You mentioned like this year or it might have been last year since you started sharing more creative things. Like did that change how you were like, all right, let's like switch it up, dog. Like I'm ready to like
Well,
tap into
yeah, like
creativity.
he like that was actually one of my questions to you as well, is like what does it all change for you and as a person, as a professional? So like for me, that's like what it's all about. It's like if I'm ever having a hard time at work or if
Hmm.
stuff switches up, stuff switches like stresses me out,
Hmm.
you know, I remind myself of like who I'm doing it for. And
Yeah,
something something
that's
that's
real.
definitely changed for me
That's
is
real.
so my son, like to give you like quick perspective, he's in a private school, right? So like that for me is like financially it's changed a lot, right?
Yeah.
But that to me is like a challenge in itself, but at
Hmm.
the same time, like I said earlier, it's just like super rewarding because
Hmm.
when he comes home and tells me about math or like starts asking all these like crazy questions and like it's just sometimes they're out there but they're valid
Hmm.
questions, so
Hmm.
it keeps me on my toes, right? And with the creative thing, now I've been songwriting more and recording again and everything like that. I'll
Yeah.
finish up some snippets, I'll finish up whatever stuff that I would share with like people on Instagram and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I'll play it for him in the car and stuff like that. And I think the last time I played him a song, he was like, "Oh, like that's really cool. Like, how'd you do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yo,
how'd you get your voice over the song? How'd you get your voice over the music?" And
that's awesome.
I just go to the shoe closet, the closet where I'm recording. I'm turn on the light and I open up the door and I'm like, it's all right here for you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can do it yourself too.
yeah,
So it's, yeah, being that
that's
source of
wild.
inspiration for him is also great. But
I definitely want to do that too for my little one. And I respect that, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that like I think things have changed, you know. I don't know what it was like, you know, for your father or anything like that with like their parents' expectations of, you know, what their stories are. But I feel like, you know, generally speaking, with immigrant parents, you know, based on their upbringing, it's pretty like, all right, engineer, lawyer, doctor, or just like, you know, blue collar kind of thing, or no, white collar kind of thing, whatever, hard work. It's okay. I love that. Yeah, like having being that source of creativity, that source of inspiration. Yeah, just wanted to agree with that.
definitely. Well, I know you got to run and everything like that. And I think we've gone over mostly like most of what I wanted to get into. We can definitely like, I mean, this is like your first week, second week,
Mhm.
right? Like transitioning into this new journey for you. But
Yeah, really.
like I'll share this and everything and whatnot, so people will have
For
access
sure,
to
I
your work
appreciate
and
it.
your journey, right? And so that was gonna be one of my questions, like where can people access your work and journey? But that's an easy one, right? Like I can tag you, we'll get it all
Mhm.
going,
I appreciate that.
and everything like that. But I would definitely, we'll definitely like do another one of these, and I
Yeah,
think on the next one we'll definitely dive more into design and whether it's
yeah,
what we could talk about our favorite designers, we could talk about
I like
what we
that.
like in design
Mhm.
currently. I
And
think
maybe
what I
what we
really,
don't like in design, you know, there's so many
yeah,
things
yeah,
happening, you know, like
I
maybe
really
it's
want to
something
dive
outside.
into when you said sustainable design, because
Mm.
that's actually what I wrote my final paper in when I was studying.
Oh,
It was gonna I originally wanted to do AI, but my professor said, "Oh, AI is not going to be relevant." So, but
what? Are you
yeah, that was in
serious?
2016, and they missed the ball on that one. But
Missed
that's
the ball.
okay. I wrote it on sustainable design, so that was
That's
something
great.
I really wanted to like. I think we can definitely talk about that a little bit some more. So,
Yeah, that sounds
but
awesome.
yeah, I appreciate you coming
I
on, man. I appreciate you,
yeah, I
taking time
appreciate
out of your day
you.
and everything. And what's what's the name,
Oh, the little one, oh, Layla. She's
Layla?
like almost a year and a half. Yeah, she can say a couple
Gotcha.
words like hi and bye and thank you.
I am by. Well, hey, man,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. I'm about to go pick up my little guy later today, so
Oh, what's his name?
Hudson. Yeah,
Hudson. Tight.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
man. That's it's just really cool. I mean, like, if I can just kind of say like a thing or two before we did.
mm,
Um, Ian, I appreciate you, man. You know, like you, like it's definitely been over 2014, 2024. It's been over like 10 years, dog. You know what I'm saying? Since like we've like chopped it up like this, you know. I definitely remember like our high school
high
days and
school
you know,
days,
like
man.
look at it,
Can't
you know.
forget. Can't forget.
But no, like it's just nice to see like you're living, you know, you're thriving, you're trying, you know, you're pushing creativity, like you have a YouTube channel, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you're doing a lot of like doing a lot of stuff, man. I think it's great. That's like the end goal for this is bad is like I want creative freedom, but I want to be a little more directed, you know.
Right.
And
That's
and
like
so yeah, that's
my
the end.
ultimate
That's
goal has always been, creative direction. Like, whether that's personal stuff or working for a company or anything. So
mhm.
to see you, starting up your own little thing and everything, and like you have control and everything like that, that is like definitely to me like the best part. Like,
As much as I have, man, I got to make money doing it to take care of this,
yeah, no,
take care
and
of this
that's
little one,
like
you know.
the direction and the control is like really cool.
Mm.
And I'm like, especially the whole, because that's like a whole rebrand pretty much. And
Yeah,
we spoke on that a little bit too, but
yeah,
yeah, we can poke on that next time too, like
for
personal
sure.
personal branding and everything. Like that's all huge in our world. So like as creatives, like branding is like massive. So yeah.
I
But yeah,
appreciate
man.
it, man.
Uh I will get this fixed up a bit later. It's gonna cut us off anyways, but let me see if I
No,
can
no worries.
stop recording. Um but yeah, thanks
Yeah, but
everyone
much love,
for
seriously.
thanks everyone for tuning in and joining us. Amat, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
looking forward to the next time, man.
Likewise, seriously, Ian. Much love.